Well, welcome to the panel. Today we are talking about the Filipino growth and how strong that's been, and I'm up here with a few of the operators. My name is Peter Johns. I'm going to be moderating this session and probably the next one after this one, so you'll get used to me. So I'll start off. I just read a story recently that was posted somewhere that the gaming revenue in the Philippines is going to be $10 billion by 2027. So that's a massive number. It's probably about 150% on this last year. So these operators up here will sort of let us know how they will get to that level and what's in store for us. To my right here, I have Dennis Hudson. He's the Vice President for Gaming at Newport Resorts. Dennis has had 40 years in experience in the industry, and you can read a lot of that on his bio. Next to Dennis, we have David Lawrence, the Casino General Manager for Thunderbirds Resorts and Casinos. Again, another 40 years in the industry, from both of you from various parts of the globe, covering probably every continent, which is quite good. So that's really good. On the end, we have Ben Lee, a moderator, a consultant, and a bit of operation experience in the past. So we'll sort of share, and Ben will fill us with inputs that he has on the industry. Never short of a word to say about gaming in some parts of the world or in the Philippines. So I'm sure we can get some insights from Ben. So moving forward, the Philippines last year, GGR came in around 3.8 billion, I think it was, 3.89, which is about what I said in the show in July. I think we were estimating about 3.8. So that's quite good, a 70% plus increase on the 2021. So there's definitely some growth here in the Philippines. Reportedly, mainly I've been told from the entertainment city areas and maybe some in Han and Cebu, and maybe not as much in the regional, but maybe David can fill us in on those, and we'll get some insights there. So let me ask you guys, what's your thoughts on the big 10 billion? How are we moving in that direction? And what's your thoughts on the growth of the Philippines from last year and even this year moving forward? Dennis.
Okay. Hi, everybody. 10 billion is a big number, but is it doable? I think so. The way we're growing at the moment, 2022 finished off very strongly in the last quarter, and is continuing in that way in the first quarter with the numbers you see. And I believe we should hit the 219 figures around about the third quarter of this year. So I think 2023 is going to be a very exciting year. We've got plenty of projects happening on Newport World Resorts, more junkets coming in, a new VIP area. So we're trying to do our best to stay with the market because it is a battle with Solaire and Okada and COD. But I think we'll hold our own and grow nicely. 10 billion is a big target, but I think doable.
And David, from the regional casinos with Thunderbirds, are you making a big share of that 10 billion or?
Yeah, 10 billion for us is an even bigger figure for two regional casinos that we have. But as Dennis said, particularly our northern property in Porro Point, we really saw the revenue climb dramatically after March 7 when things really opened up. And that's really continued into this year as well. A bit more of a challenge for our Rizal property, which is near Manila, because of the competition that we have with the entertainment city and other casinos within that area. But we're confident that both casinos will continue to grow revenue-wise.
Okay. So what is driving the growth? Is it the basic economy of the Philippines? Is it more visitation post-COVID, pent-up demand? Where do you think the growth is coming from, Ben?
All right. Thanks, Peter. I was just sitting here reflecting on David. We have a common background. I first opened a casino in Subic Bay, and David was my first shift manager, I think, at that time. So, and he stayed on. I've left. But we still have a lot of involvement, or my company has a lot of involvement. We do a lot of feasibility studies, and right now we're just in the middle of another one. So we crunch some numbers, and we have some very interesting stats. So for instance, the domestic, if you've got the three structure of the revenue, you've got junket, high roller, mass. Now, crunching the numbers, mass, domestic mass business appears to be 80% of revenue currently in January 2023. Now, previously, the junket category may have been high, but that was inflated by what we know as proxy betting, which essentially has disappeared when Macau arrested Sun City and Tak Chun. The online gambling is continuing, but that's a different scenario. Proxy gaming or phone betting is effectively gone quiet. It's still happening in certain places. I won't name them. So the recovery.
It's not us.
Sorry?
It's not us.
No, it's not yours, I know. So the recovery has been happening. The question is it linked to the economic recovery of Philippines? Is it going to be driven by mass? And I reckon the answer to that is absolutely. Right? It's 100% driven by mass domestic consumption. So the next question is, how will you reach 10 billion when you're currently 3.5 billion or thereabouts? How much can the economy grow? Will it grow? And is there a direct correlation? So I'm going to throw that question back at you. Will the economy today be 3 times? Sorry, will the economy in 5 years or 10 years' time be 3 times what it is today?
It's a good question, but I'm not sure about the answer because, it's 4 years away. If we grow the way we're growing now, then yes, it's doable because the international VIP market is growing strongly. Now there's no flight restrictions anywhere, so we should see numerous flights coming in, headcounts increasing. Our headcount's going through the ceiling now, which is great, much bigger than last year. So again, I keep saying the same thing, 10 billion, it's a big number, but doable.
And if you don't mind jumping in, where do you see, where are your international players coming from right now?
Korea, Taiwan, Thailand, Malaysia. So there's a mix, but predominantly is Korean, yeah.
What about you, David?
I think regional casinos, the dynamics are slightly different to that because when we call our players VIPs, they're mass players compared to Entertainment City, but we've also seen a growth in that as well. These are players that can bet between 30,000 and 200,000 per hand. We have VIP areas in our casinos, in both our casinos, but these are main floor players. They actually prefer playing on the main floor. We don't have junkets. We've never had junkets. We dabbled in Pigo for a while. That's been suspended currently. So I think for our growth regionally, we should develop those markets, junket and Pigo. And also we're seeing previously during pandemic, we survived because of the local market, not just the local market, because in Poro Point, the province was the last province to actually open again. So it's actually very close by local market. But now we're seeing more people coming from Clark, more people coming from Manila because the infrastructure is better as well. So we're seeing a growth in that VIP mass segment in our property, particularly up north.
Cool. Well, listening to Patrick's session before, I guess with Mr. Ramon Garcia, he was talking about the economy, really bouncing forward. So I guess, we've been in Macau. We saw Macau go from 0 to hero, from 2.6 to 2.13. Massive growth. So I guess anything's possible in a, if the regulations and the political climate lets it grow, it's possible to grow. Certainly new developments on the board. We've got Westside Resort opening pretty soon. We've also got a Winford Resorts in Chinatown. I believe that's part of your portfolio. Solaire North in Quezon City. All these are in a 25 to 20K radius of each other. So the city itself, is there enough traffic? Is it locally traffic that's going to be driving all those properties? Or are you going to, rape each other of the revenue? Or is it going to grow?
I think most of the players move around from property to property from time to time based on their luck factor. Yes, I think the growth is there. Westside is going to open, I think, late 24. We're actually looking at building a property in Boracay, small little boutique hotel and casino. But the international flights, they're increasing every day, and the numbers are coming in. I think in 2019, the tourism number was 11.5 million people, foreigners, coming into the country. We've already hit 2 million in the first 2 months of this quarter. So everything seems to be going right on track.
Cool. Yeah, there's a lot of developments outside of Manila. I guess there's a planned Gold Coast entertainment city. I think that'd be closer to your southern property, is it? That 200 acres in, I better get this name right, Las Piñas.
Las Piñas.
Parañaque.
Yeah, correct.
So that's a big development. Is that started or is that a
No, it's still in the planning stage
planning?
at the moment.
Okay.
But I think, you know, when we listen to Mr. Hand's talk particularly, it really proves that who would have thought that a development like that, not just Hand Casino, but Hand Reserve Casino, would work in Clark. And I worked in Clark for a while as well. You know, who would have thought that would be feasible to spend $1 billion plus or $3 billion, as Mr. Hand was saying, but you create a product that people want to visit, whether it's foreign, local, and because people are selective, you know. They pick and choose where they want to gamble, and also they move around as well.
So build it and they will come. I
think build quality and they will come. You know, I mean, you worked in Macau. You're based in Macau. Dennis worked in Macau as well. I always remember when we arrived in Macau in 2005, 2006. The locals were saying, actually, the players don't care. You know, they'll play anywhere as long as you've got a table and chips. But that was proved wrong. You know, they didn't care at that time because they didn't have an alternative. When that was offered to them, then
when the win opened,
changed.
they went up in the market.
They'll start picking where they want to stay or play.
And I might throw in a couple more new developments. There's one in Cavite planned for by Bloomberry. That's their southern anchor. And I believe where the land is being reclaimed in Manila Bay right now, I project that there will be at least one, if not two, new IRs there.
Wow. Okay. So it possibly is 10 billion. Let's keep a watch on this space. So I guess what advice would you give, Ben? You're advising on startups a lot of places. What would you advise a new casino to do, and what would be the market, the sort of services you'd add if they were?
At the risk of sounding self-serving, do a proper feasibility study. Don't do one that basically comes up with, you know, if you get 1,000 people staying in your hotel room and and they visit the casino twice a day and spend $100 on that, and each time they visit, that's your revenue. That's plucking figures out of thin air to try and justify that project, and we've seen countless numbers of those. And you've got to dive and dig into the market, and to your question, find out who's your target market. Like there was an interesting one about Solaire at the beginning. They thought that the target market was tables. It's not. Slot machines in Philippines have been known to account for as much as 50, if not 60% of our revenue. Yet the people who did their feasibility study did not learn that tiny little fact. And as a result, when they open, they're geared towards the wrong segment of the market. Okay. In terms of projects, we've been asked to do reports on, there was Boracay, then there was this island next to Boracay. I've been to Davao, Cebu, you name it. I haven't been to Poro Point yet. I've been up north to Marcos's territory. At the end of the day, when you're talking specifically about the Philippine market, it's about the local gaming, not so much about the international junket. It is a reversion to the old business model of your local market is your bread and butter. Your cream will come from an international. Now, Macau is the only place where it's reversed. That's because we don't have a domestic market. Every one of our customers literally walks across the border from China, right? So to try and flip it around and say that, look, if you, and there are very few people who can do this. Sun City is one of them. Unfortunately, they're no longer around. They're the only ones who can go into the project and say, I will drive 80% of a business with junket players. But, that model is now no longer.
So how about, the legislator and PADCOR seems very progressive in the Philippines as opposed to other jurisdictions certainly around the world. They're very forward in growth, which is good, I guess. Has there been any changes in the past 6 months or the next 12 months that's either a positive or a negative for the growing of the business, or is it all very smooth and easy to operate?
I think it's very smooth. Yeah, there's no negativity about it. Very positive. Padcor, they know what they want, they know their goals, and they'll help all the IRs get to these goals.
Okay. And last year we talked about labour. Labour was an issue after COVID. I just want to clarify: is it a local-only workforce in the gaming, or is it still international? Can work in all levels, or
Majority is local, and yes, I think all RIs are having a tough time. I know I am. I employ 100 every month, and I lose 50 every month because they're going overseas on the ships. More money, no taxes, obviously no travelling, as we all know in the Philippines. Travelling can be a headache, and free board, free food.
and
So-
5 or 6 more properties in your catchment area soon to open.
Yes,
That's,
yes. So it's a big issue. It's a big issue all over.
Is that the same for you, regional still, David?
It is, and like you said, particularly local properties opening up or expanding. We're seeing a lot of recruitment. Also the ships as well. We both worked on the ships, myself and Dennis. Maybe the salary is not that high, but you've got no expenses, so you can save a lot. Plus, you can travel the world, so it's very attractive for a lot of people as well.
Plus, also we're losing staff now to Singapore, gaming staff, and to Macau.
Oh, wow.
You know, so it's a big headache here. You know.
And has that sort of forced the price of labour up as well, I assume? So
No, we haven't touched anything like that. No.
Okay.
There's plenty of people out there needing jobs. It's just training them, and then as soon as we train them, they leave.
I guess you pay them more, the economy goes up, the local spend goes up, and you get to 10 billion. Come on. It's easy math. So I touched on junkets and mass by Ben. So you break down on the floor, it's mostly sort of mass, certainly more mass where you're from, David.
Yeah, currently 100% mass.
Yeah.
But for us, we consider them VIPs because I think with the markets that we have, they prefer to play in that kind of environment rather than a private room or a private area.
Okay. And what is the mass player? What's the player's demand? What are they looking for? I mean, safety and security has always been top of most people's lips when they come to sort of casinos, or especially the Philippines. In the past, it's always been, is it a safe place to go? I mean, the new resorts are obviously a lot more sort of safe and secure than 20 years ago, maybe. What have you employed, or what have you done in those sectors to sort of boost the security and safety for players, I guess?
Well, we've got committees in place for fire and safety, regular fire drills, safety drills. Our customers are well informed about all these. We have a risk management team, which was put in place, I think, 18 months ago, because every time there was an incident, what do we do about it? How do we rectify it? How do we make it better? Because, at the end of the day, customers' safety is utmost. Yeah. So we learn, we try, and we try and improve as time goes on.
And I notice, the big resorts, when I go into Solaires and most of the properties, I check my face when I go into the casino, into the resort, actually. So is the facial recognition a new technology that's widely used across the resorts?
Yes. Every resort.
Every resort, is that sort
every
of mandatory
entrance,
now?
especially here, every entrance you walk in, there's a facial recognition camera.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it's good. It's good to recognise the people, just in case something does happen.
Is that the same regional, or?
No, because of the expense. I think we're more sensitive to investing in that kind of technology. But as you well know, that technology now, the price is coming down. A lot of the requirements, AMLA, know your customer, etc., is going to be a requirement. So it's certainly something we would have to consider at some point.
It's certainly the technology. It's moving into the gaming areas. So
Yeah, you tried to sell your pitch earlier today. It didn't work.
Peter, can I throw a question at them?
sure.
How important are local financiers to your business? And this is something that the audience may not know about. Maybe you can explain what local financiers are all about.
Well, it's very important. I mean, we predominantly deal to local people, all right, and we want them to be on our side. So it's no good just investment coming from overseas or anything like that. We need the local market more than the international and VIP market. So for locals, we want them here all the time.
Right. Sorry, maybe I did not explain myself properly. Local financiers, as in people who are out there on your casino floor lending money.
Okay, sorry, okay. It doesn't happen on our floor. We watch this very carefully.
David?
Yeah, same answer.
Cool. So we'll move forward with technology. What sort of technology advice and I guess security advices do you advise casinos to look at when they sort of opening properties, as far from a security point of view? You're required by law to put the cameras on as you walk in the resorts? Is that a requirement, or is that not? It's not a requirement.
It's not a law, no.
Okay. So what other smart technologies, Ben, do you see coming into the industry?
We've been tracking a couple of very interesting new development. One is basically a Shenzhen company using AI in their traffic tracking. So basically, surveillance cameras, people coming in, they use AI to basically try and recognize who you are, whether you're a banned customer or not. Now, I gave a talk in Jeju Island last December at Jeju Gaming Conference, and we're asked this very same question: what technology can come in, and how will it affect the business? And my answer was basically simple: AI seems to be driving a lot of new advancement. So basically, what's there to stop someone using AI to track, identify you the minute you walk in, comb through your social media, find out your likes, your wants, your family, your daughter, what you do in your spare time, what issues and topics you follow, and immediately target you with ads. Dennis, you like food? We've got a special discount, 20% at the buffet, which is just 10 steps away.
You haven't been back to China then in the last 6 to 7 months? Not to Shenzhen?
No.
Okay, so you need to go to Shenzhen and walk around.
Yes.
You'll see that being used quite a bit.
Absolutely. I've seen parts of it being used around Asia, but not in casinos. So what I'm saying is this new technology will and can come into the casino sometime in the near future, and it will make marketing hell lot easier, right? They will come and approach you and say, David, you gamble at Solaire. Can we offer you this? Right? Immediately identify you with targeted promotions. So that's my take on that.
I think when used smartly and when used discreetly or to the players' benefits, there's a lot of benefits in that side, and we talked about stuff early on this morning. And certainly as things progress in technology, AI is widely used in a lot of applications, and it obviously got good prospects for the future. What other new facilities to getting deployed? I mean, it's how contribution gaming towards non-gaming in a property?
Well, I suppose when you walk around Newport World Resorts, you'll see that there are additional shops, restaurants being opened and continually opened. We've got some luxurious exotic brands coming in, which I can't name at the moment. That's from an outside point. In the casino itself, we're building several new private salons. So exclusivity, because we know players like to be discreet, they don't want to be seen. So we basically from the basement up to the rooms without anybody knowing who they are. So Resorts World, as you're integrated, the hotels, shops, restaurants, everything's here.
Yeah, full
one-stop shop.
A full IR, that's cool. So online, since I guess online did a big boom during COVID when people couldn't come to casinos, have you found there's been a big transition back to land-based? Obviously with the growth that people have come back, but did you find that those people were online players that are now coming to casinos and looking for, the same experiences they found online, or they're just moving back because the casinos are open and they find that a better style of entertainment, or is that not sort of relevant?
I'll have to be honest here. We had online gaming for Baccarat, but nobody liked it. They wanted the feel factor. They like to squeeze the cards, regardless whether they're mass, VIP, or international. We do have iSlots, which is working, but table games, we ceased that action. So the players, yes, definitely came back.
All right. And Anything online there?
No, actually, even regionally, I think it's the same thing. We did dabble in online, but definitely the preference is to squeeze those cards and be in the casino environment. I think it's an Asian thing as well. They prefer it. They prefer that.
Because there seems to be
live
large
casino.
numbers of online play attributed to the casinos, attributed to the I guess the sort of the population of the Philippines. And I know that might be troublesome in some respects, but I was just trying to think if that's just been a COVID thing or is now that returning to the casinos. It's good.
And you can't get free food and drinks online.
You don't? No.
There's no traffic jams, though.
So looking forward, I mean, competition globally, in the region, Korea has got some new properties coming online, right near the airport. I mean, there's been a few there, but there's obviously some new ones. Japan may be coming online sometime in the next couple of decades. And Thailand is talked about. So how do you see these affecting the growth in the Philippines, that 10 billion mark?
I don't think it will.
You don't think it will?
I don't think it will. No, people, they kind of stick to their region. Obviously, they will go overseas to the new property just to see. But once they've been, that's it. They'll come back and they'll stay where we are.
Okay. So your big growth, I mean, you've got a lot of Korean players here.
Sure.
I noticed last night. Are they living mostly in the Philippines or are they traveling?
Predominantly.
Living
I'd say
for
maybe
businesses?
80%, 85% live here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I think, particularly with Korean players, what you find is that there's a very good reason they come to the Philippines. Number one, golf. Number two, the weather. They don't like winters. So that's why the Korean market is so huge here and potentially even bigger than it is now. So I think, I think they wouldn't choose to go elsewhere because they're already, used to visiting the Philippines. And we have a lot of resident Koreans as well and Chinese. And they're a big part of our income as well. And a growing part of our income.
And if you look at Clark, I mean, it's like Korean village.
Yeah.
Golf courses, hotels, houses. So, yeah, I mean, they love it here. And it's cheap for them.
So come to the Philippines. It's got sunshine. It's got great
It's got beaches,
golf.
it's got lovely islands, and it's got beautiful people.
service. Yeah.
With
Excellent.
smiles.
Great.
I'm going to sound a slightly different note than my two companions here. So the Vietnam is going to be an interesting market to keep an eye on. Hoi An is finally hitting its stride. Not with the Chinese players because there's still restrictions, but there's a big junket party at the end of this week, in fact, and there are a lot of the casino marketing people from Macau attending as well. They've got junkets, not merely just from Korea, but from Southeast Asia as well. And it's going to be interesting because Hoi An is the first true integrated resort in Vietnam. Ho Tram is more of a casino resort, beachside. And Corona down south, it was neither here nor there. There are three other new projects which could be very interesting competition. Vendon up north, Bana Hills, which is in the same region as Hoi An, and then there's another one in Nha Trang by Vin Group. I reckon they actually have a great potential to attract the Koreans because of flights and the Korean special economic zone, industrial zones.
Great. Okay, thank you for the Vietnamese tourist board there. No, so I'll just open the questions up to the audience and see if we've got any questions coming from anyone down there. So there's a microphone situated in two spaces. Have you got any questions for the guys on the Philippine growth, on the 10 billion mark? Please come forward. Sure, sir, take a microphone.
Mohammed Cohen from iGaming Business, Clarion Gaming. Just want to ask both of you, is this market here in Manila overbuilt? Because I note, for example, that Solaire is building Solaire North and says they're building Cavite before they build Solaire 2 in Entertainment City. So I guess the real question is Entertainment City overbuilt?
I can answer that. I think we've talked about that a minute ago. They don't seem to think so. We think there's enough growth in the economy and the local players to sort of service these properties that are going to open.
100%. I mean, you look at the population of the Philippines, 110 million people. Granted, kids, grown-ups, granddads, grandmoms, but there's big growth here, and it's not untouched, but we haven't reached the peak yet. So I think for the next possibly 5-10 years, you'll just see continued growth in the Philippines.
Any more questions? I think there's a lot of properties even regionally. The Cebu's got a lot of growth. We were talking at Clark, is a couple of hours away from the city, and they've got some growth up there. So I think there's a lot of growth within the Manila 30K region, but also a wider part as well.
Does anybody know where Bell Group is going to have their second casino? Bell Group that has the COD property. They did talk about a second property at one stage. Nope. Okay.
Any more questions out there? If not, I will wrap this gentleman up and send them on their way. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Cheers.
Peter.